Hey guys, this is my new forging press, and I've finally decided on a name. This is Hydraulic Helga. Blah!
Shut up and sit down.
So the first stage of this video is going to be making some new tooling for the forging press. Now currently I've got these fullering dies in here which came with it, and they're literally held in place by some rather dodgy looking welds. Not that I can particularly talk on that, but the dies are actually only held in place by this tiny little wedge, which is just a piece of scrap steel. There. And then these slide straight out. But I'm not overly happy with this setup, and I'm going to put something new in place. Now the top dies are not a dissimilar story. They've basically got these two cutouts at the back and one at the front. And if I show you over at the press, you can see they correspond with this bolt at the front and there's two at the back. So it's only held in place by those three bolts, which again, I'm not overly happy with. So my plan is, I want to make some new brackets in order to hold the dies. What I'm planning on doing is just getting some pieces of flat sheet steel, and then on either end I'm going to be welding some 90-degree angle iron, something like that. And that's going to be the same both top and bottom. From there, any tooling I want, so let's say we've got, I don't know, some kind of rectangular plate here with, let's say, a hot punch on it or something like that. I'll just be able to slide the plate straight in with the tooling coming up. Something along those lines. So the first thing I need to do is work on these brackets before I start worrying about the tooling. And then, yeah, the first thing I'm going to try and make is a punch. Although actually this is the wrong way up. I'm going to have the punch coming down. So, let's crack on with that. Okay, so here's one of the die holders finished up. These are going to be my die plates, and like I say, they're just going to slide in like so, and then I'll have whatever I want on each of these mounted. But yeah, now I've just got to do all of that again and make one for the top plate. I decided to use the other plate as the top plate, and this is going to be the bottom one. As you can see, I've put a hole through the middle, which is going to be for if I'm using a punching die. And on that note, it's time to now cut out the middle of this plate, which is going to be the bottom punching die. Little spritz with the die grinder, and that's what we've got. So, next step is we need to start figuring out how to mount these brackets. Oh, that's a big Allen key. It's just shredding the key. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that off. Right, we've got them in. This is tacked here and here very badly, but it's enough for it to hold and it's not going to go anywhere. The one at the top was an absolute nightmare, trying to get the whirls down the sides in both corners there and there, but as you can now see, the plate slides in both top and bottom. So, success. Time to work on the top piece now, and then we've got to do some alterations to this bottom one. Right, here's the second plate for the top die, all ground up as much as I can be bothered. That now fits nicely in the top. And tomorrow, I think, is when I'm going to start working on the actual punch, because it's pretty late and I'm kind of tired. It's a fresh new day. I've got some H13 tool steel, and it's time to light the forge. So we need to taper this thing down, square it off, flatten it down, and then put a sort of axe eye shape onto it as best I can forging. And then it'll be heat treating and attaching to the plates. So let's make some heat! Oh, this stuff is like hitting rock. Have to get a bit hotter first, I think. So I left the power hammer alone for a few minutes and went to the hand hammer to correct some cold shuts which were appearing in the work, and my Alex steel hammer just completely sheared at the neck. I guess this will be an interesting experiment to see if there's any kind of guarantee or anything, or whether you just left to it, but yeah, I might drop them an email and see what they say. Turns out I don't know my own strength. Right, that's got the punch roughly ground, although to be fair it's looking a bit more like a drift at the moment. I'll be curious to see if the hydraulic press is going to be up for this. As you can see, there's a couple of very minor imperfections where I obviously hammered slightly too deep. But I'm going to give this a polish on some higher grits, and hopefully that will help get rid of most of it. It doesn't matter if there's a couple of little divots. Right, we've got this thing to a rough 100 grit. Again, doesn't need to be perfect because now we're going to heat treat it. So I'm going to stick it in the forge, get it to an orange temperature, and then H13 doesn't like to be quenched, it likes to be air hardened. So all I'm going to do is just take it out, leave it on the anvil, and wait for it to cool down on its own. Right, I've just tacked it in place for the moment, and I'm just checking to make sure I've got it in line and I'm happy with where it's set. That is probably about right, actually. Maybe just a slight twist. Cool, right, let's weld that on. Cool. Right, now we've just got to work on the bottom piece. The problem is, when you punch into a hot piece of steel, it likes to get stuck on the punch, and then when you try and withdraw the punch, the entire piece of steel rises up with it. So what I need to do is just put a couple of sort of loops, effectively, so that anything that's coming up with the punch will get snagged and the punch can pull itself free. So, let's do that. Reckon it's time we give this thing a test. Well, there we go. We've got a working punch, we've got new tool holders, and Helga is starting to come into her own. I'm going to be making this a video series, so expect some more tooling on the way. But yeah, I'm going to be leaving the episode here because I'm absolutely creased. If you like what you see and you want to see more, be sure to subscribe because, well, you know why. I can't be bothered to keep reiterating it. Every other YouTuber does. But yeah, if you would consider liking this video, that would genuinely help me out, and always drop a comment down below. I try and reply to all of them. Because I'm a small fry and I have time. Anyway guys, that's it, so catch you on the next one. Bye bye!